if we don't understand where we get love, how we feel loved, what is important to us, how we identify in a relationship, when we meet that person, big mistake that I see in that is that you're attracted to that personality. Like, wow.
Welcome to Challenges of a Matchmaker. I'm your host, Shai Tesler, and I am excited to have you. For those who are new to the channel, Challenges of a Matchmaker is a series in which we sit down with matchmaker and relationship expert to discuss the real challenges behind the work. In every episode, we will explore three areas: awareness and coaching, helping people recognize when they are actually need guidance; preserving relationship, why new relationships often fail apart and what it takes to make it last; and operationalize behind the scenes challenges involved running a matchmaking business. Today, our guest is the one and only Radha Patel, nationally recognized South Asia matchmaker, relationship strategist, the founder of Single to Shadi. She knows for blending cultural wisdom of modern psychology, bringing clarity, honesty, and structure back into dating, a time where confusion is everywhere. Over the 8 years, she helped high-achieving South Asian professionals across the US through her private matchmaking, her solo speed dating event, and her podcast, South Asian Love Experiment. Radha, I am excited to have you here today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Shai. I'm very excited to be on Challenges of a Matchmaker, and I'm excited to share what I know with your audience.
Thank you so much. For those who may be new to your work, can you introduce yourself?
Absolutely. So as Shai mentioned, my name is Radha Patel. I'm based out of Dallas, Texas, and I work with South Asian singles, so people who originate from places like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, anywhere in the South Asian subcontinent, but currently live or work in the US and Canada. We started out with matchmaking about 8 years ago, and throughout the years we've expanded. We also offer coaching services, which I think is one of the bigger things we're going to be talking about on your podcast today. But we help you with coaching from anywhere from using, how to use online dating apps to actual relationship related questions, or people who are just trying to, take it to the next level. We introduce events post pandemic. So we're hosting speed dating events and mixers. We do a little both in person and virtual to help people all over the country, regardless of location. And lastly, we really just kind of create a community atmosphere. We have WhatsApp groups for singles. We host a monthly book club. We'll do webinars, things like that, in order for our singles to just feel like they're getting that one-on-one experience or getting to work with coaches and meet other people if they're not quite ready to sign up for matchmaking yet. So that's a little bit about me and who we are.
It's a lot. It sounds amazing.
Absolutely. It's a huge platform that we've built. I have an amazing team behind me that helps kind of navigate all the different pieces. But my whole goal was to be the one-stop shop for South Asian dating when it comes to meeting people in America. And so we do just want to try to offer various levels of experiences, no matter where you are in your journey.
If I was a single, I think it's the best solution.
Yeah, and I think it's because, people get really intimidated by the word matchmaking, or they think it's a very expensive proposition. So we have what's called database matchmaking. It's very affordable to get started, pay as you go for matches that we find for you, if and when we find them for you. And then, as I mentioned, I think the advice piece is a lot of it. I think that people, like, what's lost on the dating apps is you're the only person making all the decisions. You're not really consulting with anybody. You're not really recognizing if things aren't working. You might get frustrated, but you're not changing the way you approach it. So by working with us and having that coaching element, we're just giving you a different perspective. And even if you don't sign up for things, you can listen to our podcast or read our blog, meet with other community members in the WhatsApp, and just get different perspectives and learn, continue to maybe change and evolve your strategy. Because if it's not working, you've got to try something different. And if you don't know what that is, we have a whole team of people and community here to help you.
This is so true. Like, I was single for so many years, and I didn't know these things exist. All I know is that the dating app, and if I knew those things better, and if I knew them earlier, I think I will be in a relationship much more earlier. From that, there is so much to learn.
Yeah. The dominance of the dating apps has really just changed. If you think about it, they've only been around. Tinder came out in 2012, so the 13, 14 years. But the fact that now everybody, regardless of your age group or generation, like, that's your default is, let me just go to a dating app, is we've lost that kind of
Yeah, I know.
genuineness and that ability to meet people outside of the dating app. And that's what they wanted. Obviously, they're technology companies, they want your attention and eyeballs. But it's just amazing to me to see how quickly they've made that shift in the dating culture.
Yeah.
That's where
And
everybody
how they
starts.
change so many people. Let's start with the first challenge, and this is awareness and coaching. So, my first question to you is, what are the most common challenges you see people struggle with today?
I'd say the first step is actually asking for help. As I mentioned, like the dating apps make it so easy to DIY. Think that you could do it yourself. You might be meeting people and be like, "Oh, I'm fine. I'm being successful," but it's not, you're meeting the same type of person. It's not going any further. So the fact that people actually take the time to be like, "You know what? I need to meet with a third party. I need to show them my issues and like actually get the help," is probably the first step. But I think then if we actually dive into it, what people come to me, a lot of it is they are kind of in their own way. They don't necessarily know. Like they have this idea, like I want somebody who's my best friend, who's going to make my life amazing. Like all these big, lofty ideas. Like obviously you want to feel that way in a relationship, but how to tie it back to concrete traits, like what to actually look for when you are swiping or when you are meeting people in the real world. And then also quantifying, like, are these things so important to you in the long run? If your goals are to get married and have a family, does it really matter if he's 6'3" and that that he's went to a certain type of school? Like I think that people get so hung up on like the what think I want versus what that's going to manifest in a relationship. So just kind of having them sit with themselves. It's not about the people you're meeting. A lot of times it's mostly starting with who you are and what you actually want.
This is so powerful. Let's say I'm coming to you, I'm single, and I need work. I'm not ready for a relationship. I need work. And usually I know I can tell myself before that I will be blind. Like for my eyes, like I'm good to go. But there's so much work and understanding. How do you show to someone that there are still work to be done before you can create a relationship with someone else?
Yeah. We have a basic in our coaching program. We have three kind of fundamental worksheets that we do with our clients. It starts with understanding your attachment style, figuring out what your love language is, and then defining your ideal partner or match, right? We do these three exercises because I'll start like attachment styles. We are all products of our past. So if we don't understand where we get love, how we feel loved, what is important to us, how we identify in a relationship, when we meet that person, we're going to be repeating those same patterns, right? Am I anxious avoidant? Am I, like all of those attachment styles? And that is all of these things you can take with you in any relationship, friendships, parent child, like sibling relationships. Like these are fundamental things about yourself that you're discovering by doing these exercises. Second is the love languages. I think it's really important for you to understand what makes you feel special so that when you are with the partner and you're like, something is not vibing, something is not syncing, you then have the words to tell them, like, I actually really like it when you prioritize spending time with me because my love language is quality time. My love language, as an example, is acts of service. So my partner knows this and he'll do simple things like if we go to the gym, he'll go and set up our mat and our station for me before I get there. Like small, and that really makes me feel respected because I'm a busy professional. So are you, right? Like, and by the fact that he recognizes that these small things will save me 5 minutes of my day, that makes me feel really loved. But a lot of times people don't understand what is special for them in a relationship, let alone how to communicate that with their partner. And then the last worksheet that we take them through, as I mentioned, is understanding your ideal relationship goals. A lot of times, as I mentioned earlier, for the coaching aspect is I just want my best friend. I don't want to feel lonely anymore. But what that manifests in the day to day, what that looks like from a values and goals perspective, that exercise really also helps you then when it comes to identifying the traits you want in a partner. So out of the bang, even before we start dating, I think you need to go through these three topics to understand who you are, how you show up in a relationship, and how you want to be treated or what you're seeking from that relationship.
Sounds actually pretty smart. Like you don't try to convince anyone, just tell if you want to do the work and you want to achieve the relationship that you dream of, come jump in to our course.
Exactly. And this is the type of thing. So I know I work with only South Asians, but the coaching aspect, it applies for everybody. We can work on this with anybody. It's just that with South Asians, it brings a little bit of that cultural nuance. Like when we are doing attachment styles or understanding your ideal match, a lot of that is rooted in that culture or what my family wants, what my community wants. So kind of breaking through those layers is something that needs to be done before you're diving in and meeting people.
All right, awesome. So, last question for this section. And if there is one message or takeaway around this challenge that you think is the most important for people who never been to a matchmaker, who new to this, who just, saw this channel accidentally, what do you want to tell them?
I would say trust the process. I work with a lot of clients who are like, you're not showing me the guy that I wanted. This is not the type of woman that I go for. And I say to them, yes, because you've already been doing it yourself. You've been DIYing it on the dating apps. There must be some reason or something that I found in this particular match that's worth a conversation, a coffee date, a phone call. I think people are so overprotective of their time. I get it. We're busy. We're all busy. But it's if you carve out that 1 hour to go on a coffee date or a cocktail date, you're going to learn so much more about that person than you would in weeks and weeks of texting back and forth, pre-qualifying. I also see a lot of my younger singles who are like, he needs to hit all my check boxes before I'll even go on a date with him. And it's like, but you can learn all of that faster if you actually just go out on the date with him. So I would say trust the process a little bit more. You're not going to find Mr. Perfect before date number one. It takes time to understand if she's Mrs. Right as you get to know each other. So trust the process.
Thank you. Moving on to the second section of challenges of matchmaker, and it's like preserving relationship. I recall when I was single, I call it the 3 months barrier, right? Like people get excited, they know each other, and after 3 months, all the fear, something doesn't get along. Like the fear come out, and then people break up. It's like a pattern,
Yeah.
and like there is a bridge to cross. So my question is like, what is the common mistakes that you see here, new couples in a relationship, and how can we help them be longer together or succeed?
Yeah. I think that 3 months, sometimes it's not even 3 months. I've been seeing like 6 weeks, right? Things go hot and heavy for 6 weeks, a month, something, and then it stops. I would say a couple of things. A lot of the singles I work with, they're very much experience oriented. They're into vacations, they're high net worth, right? So they like to live a fun and fulfilling life. Big mistake that I see in that is that you're attracted to that personality. Like, wow, we're going to a concert, and then she's going to Italy next month, like he's traveling. That's the lifestyle I want. But if the other person isn't making time for you in that lifestyle, I see, like if you're always prioritizing going on vacation, spending time with my friends, like because you live this big gregarious life, then that person that you've attracted already, you've done the work to get into a couple of dates, they're naturally going to walk away because they're not fitting into your lifestyle because you're not making the time for them. Vice versa. If you want to attract somebody who lives this big gregarious lifestyle, but you're gone every weekend, it's fine in the beginning to meet for a Thursday night date or whatever, but that's not sustainable. After a while, you just want to go to the gym together, get takeout, and watch TV on a Thursday night. So if you're not making the time for an actual relationship that fits into your lifestyle, that's where I see a lot of things separating. Second thing I think is probably communication, because a lot of it again in the beginning is really fun, it's easy, it's like you're putting your best self forward, but then all the little cracks start to come out. That's fine. That is the whole point of dating. You're supposed to see everybody's underlying flaws or what makes them human or what makes them tick, because that is the true person that you're going to be with. So as you see these things come out, if you're not being honest in the conversation, like, okay, he told me that he is a workaholic, but like, which is very ambitious, let's say, like he told me he's very ambitious, but then I see that like on Mondays he works from home and he just plays PlayStation all day. Like I'm not vibing. He says one thing, but I'm not seeing that in my lifestyle. Or somebody who says that they're very laid back, like, oh yeah, I'm so chill, like I don't mind if you've got your friends and stuff. But the second the girl goes out with her friends for the evening, he gets super jealous. Like, who were you with? What time did you come home? Right? These are the little clues that come out as you get to know each other. And I see I've seen both ways. Either you are not willing to address it. You're like, this guy's not what I want, and we're just going to break up. Or you let it go on for too long, and then a year into the relationship, you're like, oh, this isn't what I wanted. So communicating what you're seeing and feeling in a healthy way when it happens, I think is probably the second issue that happens. And the third one is a little bit more superficial. Maybe it should be the first one, but I'm a huge fan of Matchmaker Maria. If anybody knows who she is, she has Ask a Matchmaker. She's one of the best in the business, and she has this thing called the 12 date rule. Doesn't have to be exactly 12 dates, but a big, one of the amazing things about modern society is that we're sexually liberated, right? There's no shame or stigma around hookup culture and things like that anymore. But if you're approaching all your relationships that where like you're getting physically intimate really quickly, that accelerates the relationship timeline. That brings a false sense of intimacy. So you see things like that by that 3 month mark, people are like, oh, we should be talking marriage. Absolutely not. You should. That's not where you should be. There's so much more about a relationship you should learn. So her whole thing is that you should give it time, right? You should be seeing each other multiple dates. She says 12 dates, but it's not like 12 weeks. It's not like that by any means. The idea is that you should have different interactions and different ways you're meeting with them. Maybe you go on a couple of dinner dates, but then maybe you take a yoga class together, or maybe you do a paint and sip class together, or maybe you go to a friend's birthday with them, right? You see different facets of their personality and different aspects of who they are before you're willing to, before you get intimate. It's not saying don't make out, don't hold hands, don't show that physical intimacy, but can you learn about this person before you go straight into hooking up or having sex? I think that will help round out in that first 3 months what you're learning about that person and whether or not they're going to fit into who you are and what you're looking for in the future.
Thank you. Okay,
Yeah.
another question in this area. So you have a client, you introduce him to someone, they start dating, everything is blooming in the first date. Is there some intervention, like you are talking with them? And if yes, once a week, twice a week, how frequent is it? What is the best formula to make sure it's successful?
As a matchmaker, you're saying how do we work with our clients? Yeah.
Yes.
So once we've introduced them, we basically, I joke, I call us the annoying auntie. We want to make sure that you guys are actually communicating and chatting, because what we do is we introduce them, we exchange phone numbers and email addresses and allow them to make that first move. So once they've been, we have a relationship advisor who checks in, and our goal is to make sure you're getting to an in-person date, because so many of these relationships, quote unquote, or interactions, even if you think about it from the dating apps, they match, that's wonderful, but they're not actually going on the date. So there is a little bit of coaching element where it's like, okay, don't ask all the interview questions up, during the text messaging phase, actually schedule the date. Once you've met within a week, within 10 days, can you align schedules? That's also going to give you a clue if somebody's too busy. You hear that, oh, I'm traveling, I've got work, this and that. If they're too busy to go on the date with you, that's an indication that their lifestyle is not going to fit with you. So we help our couples kind of navigate that. The second thing is, once they have gone on that date, our check-ins kind of slow down a little bit more because we want them to continue to get to know each other. But some of the key indicators that you can see is what's the communication like in between dates, right? There's some people, and this is my older clients, I see it, they're a little bit more traditional. They don't like to text every day, let alone get on a phone call every day. But then in my mind is that how are you keeping that momentum in between meetings if you're not having some sort of interaction? We coach them on what you should talk about, because this person is still essentially a stranger. Just because you went on a date with them doesn't mean you know them inside and out. So don't do those annoying good morning messages. How was your day? Like those generic, boring questions that you would ask anybody else. I always try to say, approach these early interactions like this was somebody who was in your group chat. Talk about the TV show that you just watched. Talk about like who do you think is going to go to the Super Bowl. Talk about, who is going to win the Oscars for Best Picture. Like just be very much superficial, fine, but something that keep that conversation going, asking open-ended questions. Open-ended questions again are not like, what is your greatest achievement in life? Like we don't want to get that deep right now. Open-ended questions like, I'm trying to plan a trip with my girlfriends to go hiking in Machu Picchu. Have you ever been on a big long hike before? Do you have advice for me on what I should pack? Right? bringing them into your life and having open-ended questions to allow them to contribute as well. So if you have that good banter when you meet in person, that next time, that third time, that fourth time, it's going to be a natural, it's not stagnant. Like we met, we didn't talk for a week, we met again, and now we again have nothing to chat about. So that would be like what we're trying to push them towards. And then again, after a few meetings, that's when we really do take a step back. We're always there if people have guidance or need guidance, but that's the dating process. And as matchmakers, our whole goal is to get you set up. But then if you need further assistance on dating or whatever, maybe we go down a coaching program. So that's, I think there's a little bit of a distinction. You don't need coaching for matchmaking and you don't need matchmaking for coaching. They really are two independent offerings that we have.
And if a couple date for a month, like, are you still in the picture?
Just by cursory check-ins. Hey, how's it going? Can we help with anything? More than often than not, if things are going good, they don't want us to butt in. I've heard this, like, sometimes they on the borderline, they get angry. Like, why do you keep checking in with us? We've been dating for 3 months. We told you things are fine. Selfishly, I want to make sure that if you end up getting engaged or married, that I find out about it because I want to take the credit. But also because that's, as I mentioned, we're that 3-month mark, like you said, where things could fall apart. And if we can intervene and help you sooner rather than later, we would love to do that. But I think that, again, dating culture the way it is, people don't necessarily want to accept that help or think that they need the help, especially if they're only looking for matchmaking. They don't think they need the coaching aspect of it, which is free. If we match you, we'll coach you for free. They're not equating how one feeds into the other.
Yeah, it's so amazing. Like if you date someone and like you feel insecure, you don't know what's going on, and like you have someone you can call someone. Like and this is absolutely amazing.
And being that objective third party, right? Like you can call your girlfriends and ask for advice all day long, but they're not going to talk to the guy and ask him for his advice or his opinion.
Yes.
We have a relationship with both sides of them. So if one guy is really feeling it and she is not, we as that third party, that matchmaker, can maybe either address the issue before it gets out of hand or just level set and make sure you guys are both on the same page so you're not continue wasting time staying in that dating process if one person's really not into it. We can help end the relationship in an amicable way. So there is an advantage of having that third party.
Definitely. So last question in this area. If there is a tip that there are new couples watching us now, what will you tell them?
New couples that are watching us now, well, chances are it's probably only one or the other. They're not like kind of doing this as an exercise together. So I would say maybe ask yourself, what are you tuning in for, right? Are you feeling that there's something lacking in your relationship that hopefully this podcast can help you identify? Or is it more of an entertainment thing? You're like, oh, I'm learning and I like it. So is there something specific? And if you sit and think with it, is there something specific in your relationship that drove you to seek out help from us today? That would be something they could take away from it. But I think the biggest thing, like this is kind of like a generic overarching theme. My number one tip is really figure out what you want in your future partner. Not just right now, but what qualities are you looking for that's going to manifest in a good husband, a good partner, a good provider, or like what it is that you want from that person in the future. If it's from a wife, like from the male perspective, do I want a wife? Do I want a teammate? Do I want a mother to my children? Do I want somebody who's going to take care of my family, right? Like, what is it that you want from that partner? And then bring it back to the present. What are those traits that I need to identify in that person right now? If you don't do the work and figure it out for yourself first, you're going to get distracted by all the flashiness when you're out in the real world.
Got it. I can recall sometimes in my life when this happens.
Oh, the number one thing, I'll spend an hour with my matchmaking clients and they say, I need these values. I want these traits. I expect blah, blah, blah out of my partner. And then I'll show them a pretty face. And they're like, oh, actually, I want to meet her. I'm like, but she has, if you read through the bio, none of the stuff that you wanted is actually going to be like that, what she brings to the table. But because she's pretty, and I see this for guys more than girls. Like girls are a little bit more realistic. They'll read through the profile. But guys is just very much, and this is an evolutionary thing, fine, I'm sure. But if they see a pretty face, they'll throw all of their requirements out the window.
I'm laughing because I can relate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's move to the last section. It's operations. And like operation as a matchmaker in your day-to-day work, What are the main operational challenges that, I don't know, slow your work down?
Yeah, so I think as a matchmaker, I am the face of the business. I am the one who's created, how we work with clients, how we match clients. So naturally, I'm going to be the bottleneck or where there's a gap and how much further we can go. So my day-to-day work entails meeting with clients. I am on the phone probably 6 hours a day minimum, and then the rest of it is actually doing the work, the matching, the data entry. And there's so many other components to our business, right? So the marketing, the other ways to get new leads and continue to grow. So with me being that bottleneck, I've recognized that, let's say in the future we want to scale, we want to grow, I want to maybe get partnership, equity or exit. There's got to be a way to show the growth potential. And if I'm the only one taking clients, if I'm the only one who's obviously my magic is what people are coming for. What I'm experimenting or looking into right now is possibly working with AI from an onboarding perspective. I know a lot of people are like, well, AI, you're going to lose that personal touch, but the AI that we're looking to work with is actually going to allow me to learn more about my clients, because I do a 1 hour interview with you. I have my prescribed set of questions that I'm going to ask that allows me to learn your personality in a snapshot. With AI, this chatbot can talk to as many people as possible, right? Like as they want, as many people as I can bring to the
Yeah.
table, and they can take as much time as they want. They're not constrained by a 1 hour interview, and constantly update as well, right? So if somebody has a dating experience and they come back and they're like, I actually want to change this criteria about what I'm looking for, or I want to discuss how I felt in this relationship, by working with my AI chatbot, they're going to be able to give all of their feelings and say everything that they want. AI is going to be able to kind of summarize that and give recommendations, so that the next time I go to match them, I know there's been an update in their profile, or I know that there's something different that they're looking for. So I think that is a way that I'm going to deal with my operational challenge of me being the bottleneck of the business, which I'm really excited about.
Wow. What? It's actually a plan?
What was that?
It's going to happen?
Yes, we've already identified the agent, the chatbot agent that we want to work with, and we're training it right
Wow.
now. Yeah.
Wow, it sounds amazing.
I'm very excited about it. Exactly. And, I was skeptical at first, but AI is the way of the future. And, the way dating apps are going, if you've heard, there's so many new AI based dating apps that are out there. So I think that like people are comfortable using chatbots, and you can see like
Yes.
the adoption of the chat GPT, and every age group is using it. Even my 70-year-old mother will ask Siri for all kinds of help and advice. Right? So I think that that communication talking aspect is what draws people into the technology. And if you feel like you're talking to me, even though it's not me, I'm the one who's programmed the questions and I'm learning more about you, you're going to be comfortable sharing. And more so than when if it's face to face. Another kind of psychological aspect is when I meet with clients, it's like this on a video interview, they're trying to impress me, or they think they want to tell me what I want to hear, because I'm still that human element. But when it's a chatbot and there's no video, they're much more vulnerable and
Yeah.
open. And I feel like I'm going to get to know my clients way better and more deeper. They're going to be willing to share more with me from that aspect.
Thank you. Last two questions on on the same area. How people find you and how do you do marketing? How do you reach out to people and how can people find you?
So traditional, we've got the website, social media, we do a lot on there. But I think the addition of events to our services, by doing in-person and virtual events, we're able to bring in more people at a lower price point. We're also able to capture those people who are like, I don't need help. I'm on the dating apps. I get matches all the time. So by allowing them, okay, fine, come to our mixer, continue to get matches on your own, by bringing them in at that lower price point or that different service offering, that also allows us to grow. And then again, my podcast, my blog, we do a lot of that free advice, or a lot of that community building, so that we can spread the word. Word of mouth is very big. And being South Asian, I think that I have the unique secondary market of family and parents. We get a lot of people who find us through these different avenues of community avenues, but on behalf of somebody else, on behalf of their son or their brother or their friend. So that word of mouth element is really big for us as well.
Thank you so much. Definitely worth checking out. Radha Patel. She's amazing. And she's an amazing person. We spoke like a couple of times. And I appreciate every time we met. Thank you so much for joining us today. Please go check Radha Patel and check Single to Shadi and check it out on Facebook and or LinkedIn. She's there.
Everywhere,
And
Instagram, TikTok, anywhere you can think of, we are there. And Shai, thank you so much. This was really good
thank
conversation
you
today.
for me as well. Thank you so much.